2017, The Preparation of the Kings and Priests, Chapter 8, Countdown. It is an interesting position where God has the sons at this time. As much as we look around, we do not see much awareness of what is really transpiring. A lot of people are getting dreams and visions about catastrophes and geophysical events that are coming for the West Coast and the Midwest. I do believe that the Lord does bring revelation, visions, and dreams to warn His people based on the level of their spiritual growth at the time. In spite of this, however, there has been really no awareness of what is happening in the earth. You can get caught up in this end-time disaster scenario where you're out there preparing and praying, "Oh God, save America." But that, which is apparent, which can be seen with the eye, is not at all what is truly transpiring. You can read the scriptures all day long, and you can see what is prophesied concerning the coming judgments and find it very interesting. But the reality is that we are walking in these days right now. We have hit timeline after timeline within the book of Revelation that we are walking out. What is really happening? It's all about Christ ruling and reigning. Take a look at the following scriptures that paint a very vivid picture. 1 Corinthians 15:25, "For he must reign until he has put all his enemies under his feet." And Isaiah 66:8, "Who has heard such a thing? Who has seen such things? Can a land be born in a day? Can a nation be brought forth all at once? As soon as Zion travailed, she also brought forth her sons." Or Revelations 5:10, "You have made them to be a kingdom and priests to our God, and they will reign upon the earth." And 1 Peter 2:9, "But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for God's own possession, so that you might proclaim the excellencies of Him who has called you out of darkness into His marvelous light." It is about the sons coming to birth. It is about the ruling and reigning of the kings and priests. It is about the chosen royal priesthood that God is raising up. It is about the manifestation of the sons of God. And Romans 8. This is what's happening. People have no clue, and this includes the prophets and ministries in most of the churches. I'm not saying that there are not a few who see, but by and large, what is out there is blind leaders of the blind. Look at the book of Revelation, chapter 8, or Daniel, chapter 2. This is happening now. It can sound like such an arrogant assumption. Who are you to make such a profound statement? Just a voice in the wilderness, making straight the path of the Lord. I am not here to judge anyone, but the problem is that people do not see the whole picture. It is like looking at an elephant. The elephant is a large animal, and based upon where you view him, could give you a different description of what the elephant is. This is similar to how people can view the moving of God during this time. You see one part of the elephant and you say, "This is what an elephant is." Someone else sees another part of the elephant and says, "No, this is what an elephant is." What God is doing is far greater than what people are seeing, and the problem is that they are not seeing the time of their visitation. Colossians 1:27, "To whom God willed to make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory." God's sons are beginning to experience the reality of Christ in you on a whole different level. The reality of the indwelling of the Godhead is happening. How does the scripture go? "And I will be their God, and they will be my people, my sons and my daughters." That has always been the promise. 2 Corinthians 6:17 and 18, "Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. and will be a father unto you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty. What is the seal of sonship? Is it the fact that you have a revelation of it? No, the seal of sonship is the transformation of your body. Call it immortality, resurrection life, from a worm to a butterfly. In any event, it is a whole new thing. Isaiah prophesied it well. Isaiah 43:19, behold, I will do something new, a whole new thing, a whole new creation. Will you be aware? God's plan is written all throughout the Word, yet people do not see it. They have not recognized that the plan of God has been to redeem a people unto himself, a people that will become, and we're at the end of this phase, the essence and presence of God in the earth. We're at the end of this process. The change is imminent. Whether our carnal minds can grasp this or not, it does not matter. You've been sent and prepared to experience this metamorphosis. It is time to cash in on your inheritance. The interpenetration of God and man within you is happening. You've been in a protracted state of being taken over for a long time now. This is not a new thing, but you're coming to a point of completion now. This is why the work of the cross has always been with you. Malachi 3:2, but who can endure the day of his coming, and who can stand when he appears? For he is like a refiner's fire, and like fuller's soap. How does Malachi go? Who can stand when he appears? He is like a refiner's fire. What has been happening to you in your walk with God over these last many years? It could be 1 year, or it could be 20, or it could be 40. His appearing. He has been appearing to you consistently, and his appearing has been the fire. You've been embracing and living a life in the fire. There's not been a day, if you're truly chosen as a son, that you have not been living in the fire. Something deep is happening, and we're just beginning to awaken and realize that something has changed within the makeup of our being. We have talked about the judgments that God is bringing into the earth. First, however, he has been baptizing the sons in the judgments that are to come. Who experiences the judgments of God first? The sons. Before it happens to the world, it happens within the sons. But we're at the end of this process, and the judgments are now coming forth in the earth on an unprecedented scale. What has the fire burned off? The dross, that you might be able to stand in his presence dressed in white robes. God is not a respecter of persons, for he judges the just and the unjust alike. Just make sure the work has been done within you. It has been about 5 years since the Lord brought a word that he was standing in intercession before the Father. The precious fruit of the earth was not yet ready. Had the Father moved in the judgments for this age back then, it would have taken a lot of the sons. It is the word which judges, and if you're in the path of judgment, it will catch you too. This is why the dealings of God and the fire of God in your life have had to be so thorough. The judgments which are coming right now are already established. They're already done. They're already in motion. We need to understand the dynamics of the judgments, for God's sons are his mouthpiece in the earth. The sons have already begun to move into the authority of the kings and priests, and as such, the word they speak continues to frame the last chapters for the earth. Reading from Daniel chapter 2. Then there will be a fourth kingdom as strong as iron, inasmuch as iron crushes and shatters all things, so like iron that breaks in pieces, it will crush and break all these in pieces. In that you saw the feet and toes, partly of potter's clay and partly of iron, it will be a divided kingdom, but it will have in it the toughness of iron, inasmuch as you saw the iron mixed with common clay. As the toes of the feet were partly of iron and partly of pottery, so some of the kingdom will be strong and part of it will be brittle. and in that you saw the iron mixed with common clay. They will combine with one another in the seed of men, but they will not adhere to one another, even as iron does not combine with pottery. In the days of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom which will never be destroyed, and that kingdom will not be left for another people. It will crush and put an end to all these kingdoms, but it will itself endure forever. Inasmuch as you saw that a stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it crushed the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God has made known to the king what will take place in the future, so the dream is true, and its interpretation is trustworthy. We have spoken about this last kingdom in Daniel's vision, and one thing that we need to understand is that we're walking this out presently. This last kingdom is in the throes and upheaval of coming down. Perhaps you have felt the energy in the Spirit shifting consistently. It is because this last kingdom is being brought down. It is being brought down right now as we speak. The unfolding judgments are predicated upon the word of authority that must continue to be spoken right now. God has put upon the sons a mantle. It is a mantle of authority. It is a mantle of the word. It is no coincidence that the nations of the world are being turned upside down at this time. The world is in chaos. We have never seen this level of chaos. The ability in the satanic camp to communicate literally doesn't exist. The bankers are having a heck of a time communicating amongst themselves. The global elitists, as some would call them, the Nephilim, the seed of Satan, in the earth, are in a state of disarray. We must get out of any condition that puts fulfillment in the future. We are in the time of fulfillment, and we continue to stay open. We cannot make the mistake in judging by what our eyes see, for God is doing something entirely new. What we are seeing unfold right before our eyes is the culmination of God creating a whole new creation, the sons of God. There is no roadmap. You are blazing the trail. The ministry of the kings and priests, the true rulers of this age, is unfolding right now. Not when the ascension, so to speak, is complete, but right now, in real time. If you haven't yet begun to wield the authority, then do so. Change how you have seen yourself. The authority of this age will not be found in the rulers who are passing away. The authority is found in the sons who are taking their place. We're not waiting for that time when we appear before him and he puts a crown on our head to begin to function as the kings and priests of this age. We're still coming into an awareness of who we are, and that's okay. The kings and priests are here now. You. Those that God has sent into the earth for the time of change and transformation are here now. The stage is set and being set, and we must realize the unique part that each one brings to the table. The sons of God, the body of Christ, are not complete without each member functioning as he or she have been sent to do. He has been waiting for us to believe what he has spoken over us and to just do it. That which is happening on the earth right now is happening because a word has been spoken and is being spoken. It is a word of judgment and a word of dominion, and discernment has been coming more and more to reveal the enemy behind closed doors. The sons of God are the major players in this. We are the anchor in this race. We are the mojo ministry, if you want to call it that. As long as Satan can keep you doubting or believing that your entrance into sonship will yet come at some point in the future, then he will have succeeded in keeping you on hold. In spite of what you see, in spite of what you feel, in spite of what your emotions are saying, you are a king and a priest before God. Upon your spirit he has put a mantle to bring in the kingdom. It is a mantle of authority to speak the word. You are a chosen vessel through which the power, authority, and dominion of Christ does flow. This is how it works. Has there been a carefulness on the part of the sons to move carefully and not miss his leading? Absolutely. But at some point, hesitation to move becomes unbelief. Waiting for confirmation after confirmation can easily become unbelief when the Spirit within is bearing witness. I recall a vision which came about 4 or 5 years ago. It had to do with the abject arrogance that was on the satanic seed, the Nephilim, the principalities, and the fallen angels. I saw a whole group of these ancient spirits gathered in mid-heaven. I could see the earth below as these spirits were discussing something of importance. Then a voice came from behind me, and I heard the Father as he addressed them. He looked at them and said, "You thought that I would never bring judgment." They were shocked, these ancient, evil, angelic entities of old, for they truly believed that the Father would never bring judgment upon them. This is the time that we're in, a wrap-up, a finality of judgment, and it's coming now. We're in a countdown. This countdown is short, very short. I'm not even going to put months or days or weeks upon this timeline. The countdown is tied into the word of authority that is being spoken through the mouths of the sons as they speak the judgments of God into the earth. We're declaring an absolute end to the control and manipulation of the satanic seed in the earth, to that which has been going on behind closed doors, and to the manipulation of mankind that has been going on. The satanic seed is looking for the extinction of the human race. What they do not realize is that we will see an extinction, oh yes, but it will be an extinction of the satanic presence in the earth. Every day the satanic seeds start with marching orders, only it has become progressively more and more difficult for them to communicate amongst themselves with understanding. Even the ability to grasp is breaking down in the rank and file of those evil entities that dwell in the spirit. Needless to say, this has had a long-range effect on the human channels that exist: the bankers, the globalists, the elitists, the Nephilim, the seed of Satan, and the sons of Satan, and all of them. Understand, it all shakes down from the realm of spirit. You deal with the spirit realm first, and that will deal with the natural plane. Those that dwell on the plane of the natural get their mojo from the spirit realm. Everything first comes from the realm of spirit. Even the sons themselves do not find their solutions on this plane. The answers all come from the realm of spirit. This is why the authority is being committed to the sons, because what must be done will not be done by power. It will be done by Christ's authority. This is what is shaking the heavens. Hebrews 12:26. And his voice shook the earth then, but now he has promised, saying, "Yet once more I will shake not only the earth, but also the heaven." We are in this window. Now more than ever, it's expedient that we stay on our face and keep speaking the word. Keep speaking the word. This word is part of that stone cut out of the mountain. The word is hitting the feet of the image over and over. It is like the story in 2 Kings 13. Elisha told the king to take the arrows and beat them not once. And the king didn't have enough faith and only beat the arrows a couple of times. And Elisha said, "Boy, you missed it, because you're only going to have victory a couple of times." It is the same thing for the sons. In our hands we hold the arrows. What does it mean to beat the arrows? Well, it doesn't mean going before God and placating him. "Oh God, hear my prayer," and pray, pray, pray. No, to beat the arrows means you stand as a son, and you keep speaking the word, and you keep speaking the word. God is going to bring the kingdoms of this world down. If America is part of that, then fine. People get so caught up in praying over their concepts without really understanding what the Father is doing. The word is hitting the image at the feet, and it's beginning to break. The image has not been fully pulverized yet, but we're seeing cracks in the image. Things are shaking up a lot, but we're not quite there yet. When you look at the kingdoms of this world, you realize they are running around with band-aids and gauze trying to hold things together. The rulers of this present age are frantically trying to cover their backside as God begins to bring them down. The decisiveness of what is happening is going to be very complete. When God finishes judging the media, you will know it. God is not going to let anything stand of the evil and iniquity that dwell in the earth. All of it is coming down. It is going to be the most horrific thing this earth has ever seen, and we're not even talking about the geophysical events that are coming. We have seen what is coming over the next period of time, and it does not look good, not for those who are not walking with God. Romans 8:21 and 22, that the creation itself will be set free from its bondage to decay and brought into the glorious freedom of the children of God. We know that the whole creation has been groaning together in the pains of childbirth until this present time. What we are talking about is another layer of God's judgment in the earth, but it's more than that, for it's a travail of all creation. It can be difficult to fathom how alive and viable creation is, and what creation is. All of creation is in travail right now with the sons. There is a consciousness to everything that God has created. We are speaking of Romans 8. All of creation, both seen and unseen, are in travail. For what? The full birthing and manifestation of the sons of God, through whom their release and deliverance will come. Sometimes the signs of this are so strong, you can get up in the morning and feel like you're pregnant. Women who have been through the birthing process know what it's like when you start having these aches and pains in your back or in your sciatica, and you're just like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Simple. You are pregnant. You are giving birth. We are pregnant. We are giving birth to the kingdom. Like everything, our reality is constantly being redefined. And that was always a promise for the Lord. As we let go of our paradigms of limitation, He would define to us what is real and what is not. Revelations 8, 1-5. When the Lamb broke the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven. And I saw the 7 angels who stood before God, and 7 trumpets were given to them. Another angel came and stood at the altar holding a golden censer, and much incense was given to him, so that he might add to it the prayers of the saints on the golden altar which is before the throne. This is so much happening, so much happening. And the smoke of the incense with the prayers of the saints went up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with the fire of the altar and threw it to the earth. And there followed peals of thunder and sounds and flashes of lightning and earthquake. Revelation goes on to talk about the things that happen with this as far as the levels of judgment that began to unfold. It says the first sounded, and there came hail and fire mixed with blood, and they were thrown to the earth, and 1/3 of the earth was burned up. Revelations 8:7. And a lot of people can go back and say Revelations 8 already happened. I can give you a year and a date, and so on and so forth. And that could be very well true on one level. But what we're looking at is the fulfillment on a spiritual level of something that has not yet happened. Revelations 8:8, and the second angel sounded, something like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea, and 1/3 of the sea became blood. Revelations 8:9-11, and 1/3 of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and 1/3 of the ships were destroyed. And then the third angel sounded, and a great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch. And it fell on 1/3 of the rivers and the springs of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood, and 1/3 of the waters became wormwood, and many men died from the waters because they were made bitter. There are so many areas of symbolism in these scriptures. If you are looking for 1/3 of the waters of the world literally to become wormwood, I think you'd be missing it. This has to do with something that's unfolding in the Spirit. Further back in the book of Revelations, it talks about how the devil goes after the woman who gave birth to the child, and out of the mouth spewed forth a torrent, a flood of deception, lies, and illusion. What is happening in the earth is complex and layered over several realities, if you will. You have a layer of illusion and deception that is constantly being propagated by the news media and TV, sending into the earth a constant stream of consciousness based on the lie. This is one reason it is vitally important you speak the word. And we're not talking about prayer. That is not what God is asking for. He is asking for the sons to speak the word. Because the word spoken in the Spirit is what counteracts the flood of deception and lies that is spewing out of the mouth of the dragon through millions and millions of people. The end goal of this flood of darkness, to bring a conditioning and a dullness to the people of the earth, and specifically to the sons he's bringing forth. People seem to walk about in a stupor because they do not have an ear to hear. This is just one level of reality flowing into the earth. On a higher vibration or frequency can be found the Word of God, emanating like pure energy, and the word keeps resounding, "Come out of her, my people." Revelations chapter 10 hits a point where it says, "The angel whom I saw standing on the sea and on the land lifted up his right hand to heaven and swore by him who lives forever and ever, who created heaven and the things within it, and the earth and the sea and things within it, that there will be delay no longer, but in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he is about to sound, then the mystery of God is finished, as he preached to his servants, the prophets." We're in the days of the seventh angel, but you know that. And this is why we're being driven and pushed to speak the word, because we are in a crucial time. God is tearing down the evil, and every kingdom that has withstood his kingdom, they are coming down. Look at Revelations 10, verse 7. It says, "The mystery of God is finished." The mystery of God is finished. To me, that is more than Christ in you, the hope of glory. This speaks of the resurrected Christ in you, and with that, the corresponding completion of the work of redemption, the glorification of your body. You are the mystery of God. The angels look on, and it's hard for them to fathom. The satanic world looks on, and they cannot fathom nor understand how or why God would take these humble earthen creatures, in some ways the lowest order of creation, and bring forth a whole new creation, the sons of God. Colossians 1:27, "To whom God willed to make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory." Understand, these principalities and powers, these angels who have existed for eons of time and stood in great places in the presence of the Father, cannot fathom how the Father would take something so loathsome to them and put them above everything else. So great are they in their own eyes, and they look down at this lowly creation and they can't fathom it. It's like, what? But you are the mystery of God, and this is the time that you're being finished. And finished means resurrection. It means your body will be fully resurrected. The Lord has been speaking for some time now about resurrection life. He has said that resurrection life is literally right below your skin. Your new body is a hair's breadth away. If you can just peel off one layer of skin, the resurrected body would be right beneath it. We are that close to the reality of the promise and the provision and the completion of the mystery of God. Another word came, visualize yourself on the other side of this transformation. The interpenetration of God and man. What a mystery. A mystery to the sons themselves, because they must come to grips with the enormity of what is happening within them right at this very moment. There has been nothing like this ever before, nor will there ever be again. Give yourself to speaking the word, to bringing in the judgments and declaring authority over the principalities and the powers, thrones and dominions. We go after the spirit realm, and as we change it, and mark my words, it is happening right now, moment by moment. then everything on the natural plane is going to change. This is where we are, and life, as we've known it, is going to change. I know out there in the unreal world that people are saying, well, life is going to change as you know it. They're referencing the catastrophic economic collapse that is coming, along with other scenarios that are on the horizon, any or all of which could set off a huge domino effect in this age. When that happens, to those who live on planet Earth, there is no doubt that life will change for them forever. But this does not concern the sons, for they have a different destiny. To those who are being raised up in this time of final completion, life will never be the same, because they are becoming and being completed as a whole new creation. In the midst of all of this, continue to break bonds with yourself, because you are in a state of becoming. How you see yourself is in flux. Do not lock yourself into any prior conditionings. Every morning you have to get up and say, this is not who I am. You know, the aches, the pains, the problems. Just break your connections, break your ties with yourself and any other latent bonds, and reach into your true identity. Who are you? Who are you? I am the Christ. That is who you are. And I am the Father. That's kind of scary, isn't it? But if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. At some point, you will wake up and realize those shoes fit you now. The voice of the sons is loosed to bring in the kingdom. They are destined to bring in the judgments of the Father, and the earth is going to bear witness to the travail of the sons. All of creation is going to bear witness. I know that they, creation, are more aware of it than we are. We have been shown bits and pieces along the way, but so much more is coming. So much more is coming. I bless this word to the true kings and priests of God, to the kings and priests of God that reign right now, not later, not in the future, but now. From his presence, the kings and priests are ruling. They have the scepter in their hand, and judgment is being administered. It has been a wild and crazy last several months. But I tell you this, it is nothing to what we are going to see in the next period of time. We refuse to allow the mind to enter in and judge and say, well, not yet. You're not there. I haven't been walking with God long enough, so it must apply to someone else. No, if you're hearing this word, and if it's bearing witness in your heart, and your heart is burning, then this is your word, this is your truth, and this is your time.